leave that up for more than a second so we have a good thumbnail for you. All right.
Thanks.
There we go. Hey, welcome to Codified Security Office Hours. My name's Steve Giguere.
With Taylor Smith. I'm here from Bridgecrew.
All right. Amazing. Yeah, we have the Bridgecrew Office Hours as a special guest.
From Bridgecrew.
We got a lot of really cool things today. We're going to talk about new features. Well, actually, specifically, Taylor is going to talk about some pretty cool features we've added to Checkov, which is secret scanning. It wasn't there before and actually is pretty awesome. I'm going to go through kind of a strange workflow that I created using AWS config, Lambda, and just showing how you can use your tags to create a really quite dense and convenient Slack message that can take you directly from code to cloud commit when you see AWS misconfigurations. Sounds complicated, super easy to show you how to do it. But if you missed it, we have a blog article and a video coming out you can follow up with if you miss it now. So, Taylor, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm a product marketer for Bridgecrew, and I cover everything shift left for Prisma Cloud. So that includes our infrastructure as code scanning with Bridgecrew, but it also includes some of our image scanning that we do with our Prisma Cloud compute.
Yeah, amazing. If you have any questions based on what Taylor has just said for the viewers that are here live, I can see we have 3-ish. Yeah, fire them in the comments. Totally happy to try and field live questions. That is not a problem. Before we get started, normally Matt would be here, but he's not. He came down sick like an hour ago or something, and which is a little worrying because he was fine this morning and throughout the day. So it must be bad. So I'm a little he would like this, a little beer toasting for our fallen comrade. He'd probably be upset that it's a session. Probably feel he deserves a double IPA or something, but
do better next time.
Yeah, exactly. Be more sick. I don't know what a triple IPA would be. It'd be really bad.
Oh yeah.
So what's just before we get cracking into your demo? Any exciting things caught your eye? I know just before this, we were talking about the State of DevOps report being out.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
Very cool. We're sponsors, so check it out.
Fantastic. Yes, it's a shameless plug.
Yeah, shameless. It's very interesting. There's a lot of good stuff in there talking about some of the friction that teams have getting from the low performing teams all the way to the high performing teams. And a lot of it is around how automation can help. So it's obviously not the solution, but it can help. And again, another shameless plug, we can help with that. But mostly there's a lot of really good, interesting stats on there. That's the only important logo there. The rest of them are
Yes, ignore them. I'll find a way to blur them out next.
Blur all of them.
Ours. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I get excited to watch it, to see it and read it and pour through it. A little bit like, well, the State of Security report that normally comes out every year. Same kind of thing. And so you've already read it, or do you just you've skimmed it? I haven't seen it yet.
I've just skimmed it. I got a nice little preview as a sponsor for it. So I got like the top 5 stats that they wanted to share with us. I'm planning on doing the full read through probably this weekend. Nice little weekend read.
Yeah, it sounds like this kind of thing. All right. Oh, look at that. See, we have people on the comments pouring one out for Matt.
Don't pour out the double.
Right.
Drink
yeah,
that.
exactly.
Pour out something cheaper.
See, Michael at DSO Training says, "Get well, Matt. Get well, Matt." Hopefully, maybe he's probably our third guest, watching from afar on his phone, curled up and under a duvet. Oh, yeah, I know. Right. I think we're gonna dive straight in with you, Taylor. Would you like me to bring your screen up, or would you like to do some kind of introduction before I do that, or should I just go for it?
Let me do a quick talk about what we introduced. So we actually did not build this entirely ourselves. We worked with, you might have heard of it, Yelp open sourced their secret scanner. And so we worked with Doug Hawk Kevin Hawk, the creator of it, and worked on implementing it and adding it to Checkov. So it's invisible behind the scenes how you actually use it. It'll just be like another scan, another couple checks that you look for. But then it'll find the secrets, and obviously finding secrets before they get pushed to your repo is very important. So we see this as something you want to run locally. Maybe check again before you run it, before you push the cloud. So you're not pushing secrets like your database credentials into a container, into a registry, and obviously not pushing anything into your live environment. So it's good to check at every stage, but the most important for secrets, because anything that shows up on the internet never goes away. So making sure it doesn't even get pushed to GitHub or GitLab, that's important. And there's 3 ways that we check for secrets. So we check for basically a regex check. So if there's a pattern, like all AWS credentials start with AKIA, and then they have an exact number of alphanumeric digits after that. And then we do pattern matching. So things like keywords, like password or key or API key, but that's a little noisy. So we combine that with the third one, which is entropy. So there's a concept out there that if you have a word or a string that's very different from any word in the English language, then it's most likely a secret. You're probably, it's possible it's the name of a really nice sports car, but it's most likely a secret. But that can also be noisy, right? Like that maybe you just, like me, I like to have very random variable names. And so it might pick up on that. So we've done the nice magic that we've added is we've combined those last 2 into and tuned them so the false positive rate is a little lower. And that way we're still detecting secrets that the regex scanner wouldn't catch, but we're not super noisy.
I think that's going to resonate with a lot of people listening. Yeah. Not super noisy is always a very good thing to say when you're talking about anything that stands for anything.
Yeah. There's enough alerts in this world. We don't need more.
Absolutely. That's pretty awesome. So and you're going to show us that now. You've got a sample set up. Do you want to do that? Shall I share your screen? There we go.
So this is a file, a Terraform file that has a whole bunch of secrets in it. You can see here's an AWS.
Taylor, can you boost it up a little bit? Because we know Matt's at home checking on his phone.
Yes. How's that?
Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you. So we have a whole bunch of secrets in here as examples. So we have an access key for AWS. We have like a Stripe token, a Twilio token. All of these follow the patterns, or some of them are like this OpenSSH private key. They fit the pattern of a secret. Now, the one that will be caught by the other secret scanner is this one, where you can see this is obviously not a word, but it's not, and it's led with secret key, but it doesn't match any patterns. So let me just jump over into this, and I'll probably need to blow this one up as well. So I'm looking at that same file. I would just do a simple Checkov file scan. If I was doing a directory, it would find all the secrets across the directory. And now you can see it's detected all of those different secrets. So we have a private key here, that Slack token, the basic auth credentials, Twilio. It's detecting all those secrets and notifying me here that I've failed 8 checks. So it's found 8 secrets in this file. And what we have here is one we've always done, which is we've always checked for that AWS access key. So we've just now gone and added some additional checks now. So it's finding all those keys in your files, and it'll alert you and let you know, don't commit this.
Yes, that's sound advice. I think some people watch these sort of things and think, I'm not going to commit any secrets. I'm not going to do that. And hands in the air. I made the mistake of committing a secret like a month ago because it was in a comment, because I was debugging with it, and then I put the right environment variables in, and I forgot to delete the comment.
My mistake that I made recently is I hard coded my database credentials in my container image, and I committed that to Docker Hub public, and I was like, oh shoot. It's just so much easier to hard code.
It is, isn't it? And now that we have the power of GitHub's Copilot to fill these credentials in for us.
I really imagine that at least a few credentials, because searching GitHub, you can find, I mean, they're probably fake at this point because they do a good job of eventually finding those secrets.
Yeah.
But I imagine a few secrets that show up in the training model for that.
Well, it's all over. Matt wanted us to see if we could use Copilot, because I'm on the beta for Copilot, to try and build Terraform, and just do whatever it told us to do. Type S3 bucket and just see what lines it told us to put in with autocomplete the whole way through. And then we're going to check it with Checkov. So we're not doing that today, which is why I didn't introduce it, because he would kill me if we did that without him being here. But I did try it this morning, and I can tell you it's going to be fun when we do it.
Not to like steal too much of Matt's thunder or your thunder with him, but does it actually generate Terraform?
It does. I didn't even know if it worked with Terraform. So I tried it. Yeah, I tried it this morning, and as soon as you type bracket, it starts to try to fill things in. And it does a pretty good job depending on the resource type of putting things in. But it's like the first one I did was like, okay, that's totally bad practice, what just happened there. It's instant. So, and I only tried one type, so I think it could be a little bit of fun to do. It actually might be fun to take Yor Secrets.tf and start with the beginning and some of the equals on that to see if it fills any of those kind of things in. Because I think when it first launched, there was a lot of people talking about how it was, and some of them were real. And then there was a little bit of suspicion, which I don't think is necessarily correct, that it was using some private repos as training, right? Which I don't think it is.
I don't think they would be that.
No,
naive.
GitHub/Microsoft are not doing that. Yeah, but I think it's just the reality that there are that many people checking them in.
Yeah,
it's real. That's amazing.
And Amazon has a service, so does GitHub, where they'll find those credentials and Amazon will lock down your account. The problem is I found this cool stat where it's like it takes Amazon about 15 minutes. It takes the average hacker 1 minute to just, there's just bots constantly looking for these secrets. So it's nice that Amazon does this. It's nice that GitHub will identify secrets, but getting it out of your Git history and like rotating your keys is a non-trivial thing. It takes a few minutes, and it's usually too late at that point.
Yeah, actually, it's a good point you mentioned. Google does it as well, because my not the one a month ago, but about 6 months ago, I accidentally checked in an API key that I was using for my my personal YouTube, but it was dead. Like, it didn't do anything. But again, I accidentally put it in there, and before I could go, oh, I did that, I got an email from Google telling me they disabled the API key, and here's where it was. Like, a bot did that.
That's pretty impressive.
That was faster than I could realize. Like, as I'd already committed it, and I already had an email. I was like, so there are some major organizations are there looking out for you, but even that, right? I thought it was cool they disabled it instantly, but I'm like, what are they gonna do? They're gonna have an API key to watch all my videos. Oh well.
That's cool. That's really valuable stuff. Don't sell yourself short.
Thanks. Okay, so that was like a remarkably easy thing to show there.
That's what I love about Checkov. Like, honestly, I'm not like bragging because I didn't write it. That kudos to our engineering team. I love how simple it is. It's so easy to use. It's fun.
And I imagine I'm going to bring it back up for a second because I have a question for you. So the guides. Do you mind if I bring one up?
Do it. Yeah.
Because I think I just put one up here. I'll get rid of this because I'm always curious to what the guidance is, but secrets is quite a bit different than code misconfiguration. So if I could bring up the high entropy string, there's actually the git fix I saw here as well.
Yeah.
What if you've already done it? is that why that one's? Because it's not. If you look at I think we had this discussion like when this was first coming out, didn't we? What if you do this wrong? How do you get it out of Git?
It's not. Yeah, I mean, you have to go through, because even if you commit over it, there's still Git history. So the first thing you do is, you revoke that. Or if it's an AWS credential, you immediately disable it. And then you go through and you try and clear it anyway, because even though it's revoked or cleared or whatever, it's still good practice to just not have it out there in the wild. And then you go through and you have to find all the breaking changes that you've created once you've revoked that. I mean, the one horror story I heard was that somebody revoked their AWS credentials that was being used by a Lambda function to provision things. Well, they forgot about that Lambda function. Now it's broken. So they revoked it, which is good, but now they had some breaking changes. So it's not trivial to fix it.
No, that's it. Then that's a great example. Like as a person, I accidentally checked in a YouTube key that had no credentials whatsoever and really had no risk associated with it. And I was happy it was gone. But in an organization, the ripple effect of one credential that is being used in an automated way by multiple sources.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're going to be buying the beers.
Yeah, you will be buying the beers. Exactly. That's right.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Okay, very cool. I'm super happy that's there. I know when I checked in my mistake, I joked that why doesn't Checkov have secret scanning? That would be really handy. And then immediately the next week it was there.
Barack heard you. His little mic tag he has on you.
He's like, he does. Yeah, that's right. He is listening at all times.
All times.
Okay, that's great. All right. So the next thing I think I'm going to jump in. If you want to ask questions, and we have some people ask questions, and something we don't always say is join our Slack. If you're watching now, you're watching in the future, join the Codified Security Slack channel. And I think I wonder if we're allowed to post links into the comments. Do you know if we are allowed to do that? Because we could send a join link into the chat. Let's try it. Shall we? 1 second. Let's see.
Give it a shot.
I think that worked.
Yeah.
That's dangerous. I hope guests can't do that. Join our Slack. That's Codified Security. So if you've got other questions about Checkov or secret scanning or Yor or tagging or open source, or you want to contribute, that's all happening on Codified Security. So why not come join? And we had something today, actually, just before I jump into the next bit, where we talk about Yor, there was something weird that happened today on Codified Security where we had an issue with the Yor install. So this would be like if I had a sting, I'd come out and say full disclosure. And it was DSO Training has just told me that guests can post links. I think it got censored because it says ...
3 stars.
Yeah, I think Twitch censors it, so it might be on YouTube, but we'll see. Thanks. Good to know. The brew install for Yor, the original release of it. So if you're using Yor and you're on a Mac and you were installing with brew, I think because it was a bit, Yor has only been out for, I think it's having its 2nd month birthday very soon. It was building, so it was actually cloning the entire Git repo and building it with Go and then installing it, which is a bit of a roundabout way for brew to install. So if you thought the install for Yor was taking a long time, it's because it was still doing the kind of developer install. That's recently been fixed on Mac OS. So if you run a brew install Yor, it will just pull the pre-built Go binary down there and install that. It takes like seconds now, as opposed to a minute. And you don't have to have Go installed to build on your Mac. So if you had a problem with that, that will be fixed now. And also we're going to be adding Linux and all the other platforms as part of the brew install. So it should be super seamless. So just letting you know that we saw that. And that was resolved because of our Slack.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Love it. The community makes this.
Exactly. All right, I'm going to jump into the next thing, unless there's something I was going to say, Taylor, and do stop me if I
Not that I can think of.
flapping my gums.
Do it.
All right, so I'm going to bring Yor back up, and I seem to find myself always introducing Yor. I don't know how many. It's like Happy New Year. How long do you say Happy New Year before you're like, all right? By the way, Happy New Year, Taylor.
And then you stop, and then January you start over again.
That's it's it. Yor is automated infrastructure as code tag and trace. If you're unfamiliar with it, and maybe you're new to the show and you're watching this in the future or the past, what it does is it provides consistent strategic tagging. You integrate it into your Git as an action, and it will give you tags to your Terraform. Obviously, that will be expanding to other formats like CloudFormation and YAML, etc., in the future. But what that means is that you can take advantage of some of the AWS, GCP, and Azure best practices for tagging resources. You're thinking, that's really cool. How do I use that? All right. So this is what I was trying to find, a really interesting way that I could take advantage of that. We do already have some videos out there on our YouTube channel. Go check them out and subscribe and like, which do show that if you have a misconfiguration in AWS, you can, and I wonder if I can just do that actually. Here's AWS. I can go to my config, and I'm on the VPN, and it's gonna, weird things are gonna happen. It's gonna sign me out, right? Oh, is it gonna work?
Oh.
This is live.
Demoing live.
It's live. The thing is, to be here, I need to be on the VPN. Normally, I would disable the VPN if I was going to be doing stuff here, so that I had a seamless, successful connection. There we go. So if I have a non-compliant bucket, let's just click on that and hope it doesn't explode. Because I've tagged things, because I'm a good person and I've done some tagging. Let's choose financials. That's the one I used in my demo, I think. Now, there's a lot of tags here. I would say this is probably, how many tags do I have? 10, 15? 15 more tags than anybody normally puts on a resource by a Terraform. And the ones that, all the ones that say Git, these come from Yor. Yor does this when it's in its, but well, when you commit, and can do it again when it's before it's released to make sure it's all up to date. So you can see I'm the last one that modified it. It's in my organization. I've got a few other random ones, but the Git ones are the ones that are the bare minimum. So you get all of these for free, and you get this quite unique one, which is unique to Bridgecrew and Yor, which is Yor Trace. So if I take Yor Trace and I want to, and say this is the one that has a misconfiguration, like I know that because I pulled it out of there. How much effort would it take me to figure out who is responsible for this, the Terraform that is this misconfiguration? How many? What do you think, Taylor? Would you think it would be 5 minutes, 5 hours, or 5 days?
I'd say probably not 5 days. Probably 5 hours is a good guess. Enough Jira ticket, Robin.
I think that's actually pretty fair. I think you're probably right. I think some people can do it in 5 minutes, and we'll probably come back to us and say, no, I'm really good at this. So if I jump in here and I search for this in this repository, there we go. Got like a Google whack. I can see that that's where it is. I can click through here. I can just look for it. I have the commit. There it is, financials. I have the commit right there. And in fact, the rest of the tags, allow me to build a fantastic blame culture. But it's all there. I know who did it, when, how. It was me. Darn it. That backfired.
Shoot, Steve.
So that's a manual way of doing that, which is not slow. That is pretty cool. Now, it does mean I've got to have something set up to make me aware of when things go into lack of compliance, and there's ways to do that. You could do CloudWatch. You could do a lot of different things. And I kind of brainstormed around how we could do it. Now, let's see if I go the right way. So this is what the flow I thought would be. So if I've got this same bucket, and there's a rule in AWS config, and I set up some CloudWatch to trigger on that rule, what can I do? Well, I mean, the obvious thing, a lot of people probably are a lambda function. Of course, you can do a lambda function. Amazing. Well, now I've got the advantage of my Yor tags. Fantastic. So I set up my IAM, I pull my tags out, I build a pretty good looking, if I do say myself, Slack message. And then away we go. And that is pretty much exactly what happened. I set up my rules here, setting up the IAM and all that kind of stuff. Watch the video, read the blog to find out how to do that, because that is interesting if you're doing it, but does not make for the best TV. And actually, I could go, it's doing it, right? I can just go here. So I put it all into my Git repo, my Euro gig, that's me, Yor Slack Lambda. And if we go take a look at the Lambda, we can see this is the Lambda that I wrote. It's got the webhook URL. You can go to Slack. If you have admin or the right privileges, you can create a webhook. You can even use our Bridgecrew logo, which I did include in the repo, so you can go get it. So you get a little Bridgecrew. And we set that up with some environment variables. I'm using a particular API here, which is the resource groups API. And so that was some of the permissions I had to give my Lambda, was access to that resource groups tagging API, which is a bit of an obscure one because we don't even have resource groups set up. But you can still use the API to get all the tags for any resource. And because the CloudWatch data, which is mega complicated, has everything you need, I've done all the work already to pick through to grab the region, the account, the service, build a response, all of the tags I need to build and construct this Slack message and send it out. Bing. And away we go. And what does it look like? Looks like one of these. So there's Steve. Oh, this is a new one. Okay, this came in. AWS KMS key is me again because I'm the one that created all the resources. Dev operations is wrong. You can see it happen. And instead of having to do anything, now I have a notification system which exists in my world. And I can jump all the way back to AWS, which is where I just was, via a click. Or I can trace it on GitHub. And let's see if this blows up, right? Is it going to show up on a different monitor? Boom. There it is. And that's a different number. So that should now be the operations bucket. How fast is that? How cool is that?
Very cool.
Allow me to pat myself in the back.
Yeah. Very nice. You get to follow that GitOps culture. Like, don't edit in cloud. Here it is in the cloud, so you can see the misconfiguration. But edit in the code, and here's the code. Boom, simple.
Exactly, and that's kind of when you end up in that, I don't know, the SRE kind of spin where I want this to be compliant, and I want it to be as compliant as fast as I can.
Yeah.
So you have this danger where I know how to make it compliant. It's pretty easy. I could just do it now. I could just click and change the resource now in AWS, and then create a ticket that says go change the Terraform. But then what happens is Bridgecrew kicks off and tells you you've got drift.
Don't want that.
Wide open opportunity for a plug there, Taylor.
Yeah. Oh, right. So Yor can also help with drift. So that nice, I picked up on it right away. That nice Yor trace tag helps us track from the code to the cloud. And so we can now take the resources and we take the basically the JSON output and convert it into HCL from the cloud so we can see the configuration, and we compare that with the code that we have based on our repo scanning, and we can see if there's a difference, and you can see if there's a drift, because if you're following GitOps practices, you shouldn't be making any changes in the cloud. So using Yor, and it's that simple, as long as you're running Yor and your pre-commit hook, or as like a GitHub action or a GitLab, I don't know, scan or whatever, where it adds the Yor tag, it will be able to do this drift automatically. And it will identify, here's where your configurations differ, which is very cool.
It is.
And that way you can go, and so the idea here is, it's like Steve said, it's very easy. It feels easy to just go in and make the change in the UI. Like, I've opened up port 22, and sometimes it's not a bad thing. Sometimes it's like, oh, I forgot to add encryption. So I'm going to go in the S3 bucket and I'm going to add encryption. But that should be done in the code. Otherwise, you lose all the benefits of using infrastructure as code. You're not going through all the scanning checks. You're also losing the repeatability of an infrastructure as code template because the real good state is in the cloud, not in the code. So it's a really cool feature, and it's on by default as long as you're running your tagging right before it makes it into the cloud, and we are scanning the repo and the cloud. It'll find that drift.
Awesome. It is really cool. I think it's great to see that a lot of the tools that start as open source tools that you can use totally independent are now totally baked into Bridgecrew. And we should put a banner up that says go to bridgecrew.cloud for a free trial. But if you're watching this in the future, there's one in the description down below the video.
Yeah.
So I know it's there because I added it. But go check it out because there's a lot of amazing things you can do. And you can do it free for 15 days? 14 days?
14 days, yeah. But there is a free version forever. So I think it's up to 50 resources. You can do the basic Bridgecrew functionalities like code comments and stuff like that. But then the full suite of product is free for 14 days.
That's very cool. All right, amazing. So that's what we wanted to show today. It's a slightly shorter show than the past two, which went to an hour. But to be honest, we didn't expect those to go as long as they went. So perhaps this is normal. I don't know. Anything else you wanted to mention, Taylor, while we're done showing what we need to show?
We could talk about baselining. That's also another one we've added.
Ooh, so that's something I was hoping we could demonstrate, but let's do a teaser.
Okay.
We'll do it. We'll demonstrate in a different show. Tease them.
Okay. Tease them. Okay. So baselining, I guess I should say caveat emptor. This is a very powerful tool, but it means that you're skipping all of these checks. So basically what baselining does is it takes an initial scan from Checkov, all the different policies that you're violating per resource, and it stores that in a file, and it says, if you add that baseline to the next scan, it skips all of those. So if it identifies like an open S3 or a public S3 bucket, then the first scan and you add baselining, it will not check that in the next one. And so you can basically, if you have, what we find from a few customers is they've already built out their infrastructure as code templates. They have a whole bunch of misconfigurations. They're aware of that, but they want to block on only new ones. So they use the baselining feature to just say, okay, only block if we're introducing new misconfigurations. We'll handle the backlog later. And then once they've gone through and fixed the backlog, then they'll get rid of that baselining, or they'll add a new baseline. But that way it's a little less noisy and they can move to the blocking state a little faster.
Okay, so how do I change my baseline? That is, I haven't heard of how we do that yet. Let's say my baseline was July 1st, and I've now got Checkov built into my CI, into my pipeline, and my developers are adopting it. And I'm actually now producing better Terraform, for example.
Yeah.
Can I like rewind to June 1st, and then knowing I'm going to introduce some legacy misconfigurations potentially, but I'm not going to get flooded? Is that the idea?
So you can. The idea is that you can take that file and version control it. So you could stick it into your repo, the baseline file. So you could add, you could update it anytime you just do the create baseline flag with Checkov. It'll generate a new one. It'll overwrite the old one, so you just commit it into your repo to get that version control, and that way you can go back to an earlier state, or you could update it with the new state.
Okay, cool. I like it. Yeah, I spent some of my formative years in static analysis tools, so baselining was huge, because probably like people with huge Terraform repos running Checkov for the very first time, because they've just never really exhibited best practices until their startup went from 2 people to 2,000 people. There's going to be a lot there potentially, and the same thing goes for code. When you run static analysis, it's like, oh, I have 10,000 things to fix. How about I now ignore this tool forever?
Yeah. Yeah, it can be overwhelming the first time.
That's awesome. Is that so? When's that coming, or is it there already?
It's there. It's out.
Ah,
Yeah.
all right. So tune in next office hours. We will show you how to do that, how to create a baseline, and a few other pretty cool things. That because we're making new things constantly, so we're trying to do these shows at least once a month, maybe even more. So stay tuned. Do subscribe follow us on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, but more importantly, share these videos with your friends so that they can learn more about infrastructure as code security as well. Think we're good?
Sounds good.
All right, amazing. Let's close it off. I think this has been a pretty cool show. My name's Steve Giguere.
Taylor Smith.
Oh, that way. Thanks for watching.
Get well soon, Matt.
Get well soon, Matt.